Okay, hello everybody. Thank you for joining our webinar about recent cyber attacks. I am Yaron Mitzke from Embedded Solutions 3000, and with me Dr. Larissa Tsiminski. She's also from Embedded Solutions. And today we will discuss together a few cyber attacks that happened this month. And we would like to share it with you. I hope you will enjoy it. We will leave time to questions at the end of the webinar. So we will cover these three events. The first one will be about Acer, the giant Acer attack. The second will be about GitHub. And the third about Verkada event that happened this month. What we will do, we will describe the cyber attacks. We will talk about how it happened from what we know, the structure of the attack, and potential remedies that can be done. So, this one is really annoying because, you know, Acer is a real giant Taiwanese company with over 7,000 employees and a revenue of almost $8 billion in 2019. And of course, because Acer is such a huge, important giant, I believe that the cyber attackers would like to get a lot of money, so they are targeting the big ones. And they had the boldness to ask for $50 million just to do the ransomware of Acer. And what they gained, these attackers, and we will explain in a minute how they got to leak out this sensitive information from Acer. So what they did, they penetrated to Acer very sensitive data, and they published only part of it now, and they asked for ransomware of $50 million. Now, if you will see on the, I will need the mouse for a moment. Okay, here you see this group of attackers, $50 million. And they said that if by March 28, Acer will not pay $100 million. This is world record for ransomware. Now they even more boldness because they ask, they told Acer that they will give them 20% discount if they will pay in 3 days.
Just good deal. Sales.
It's very good deal. So this group is called Review, okay? And the question is, Dr. Larissa, how did they infiltrate to Acer? How did they manage to leak out this information? Because I assume that a giant like Acer, they have a lot of cybersecurity measures.
Actually, what we can suppose is that they just used vulnerabilities and known vulnerabilities in Microsoft Exchange server. Acer, like many other big and good companies, of course, use this MS Exchange server. And there are a lot of open doors. And they used this at least one of these vulnerabilities to be on so-called web shell. Okay. Through this web shell, hackers were able to get inside into the computers without even trying to get their password or username, admin name, etc., etc. So without any credentials, they were able to penetrate to the computer, to the internal computer. From this point of view, they could do a lot of things. They could access internal files. They could map internal network and access to every server and server and to get the sensitive data. Unfortunately, it was not so difficult.
Understand. So it's also interesting because using Exchange servers should be more safe than use small servers of unknown companies or to use the cloud services. So I know that the companies that are using Exchange servers are the big ones mostly.
Of course, you are right. The bigger server is the more room for the vulnerabilities. And the victims are bigger, and that is why the hackers try to get access to as much victims and as big victims as possible. And of course, the big companies use the big servers, and big servers have big vulnerabilities. Unfortunately, this is a fact. And I believe when when you get the mail, and the mail is absolutely legal, and you get it from legal source, even you know the sender, so you have no objection to open this mail. It's absolutely legal. From this point, malware is in your computer, in your internal network, waiting for the possibility to get as much information, as much access as possible.
Understand. And what are the remedies that companies can do in order to enhance the level of security?
It's very, very good question and very difficult to answer. I believe there is no absolutely full and 100% remedy against this kind of attacks. Still, what can be used, and we strictly advise it to our customers, is to put a protection for sensitive servers and for sensitive network equipment like firewalls. The protection should be as transparent as possible, as visible in the network as possible, as light as possible. The protection device should not be mapped by itself. So when the hackers, when the malware attempts to map the sensitive servers and the firewalls and other network equipment, this protection device should stay invisible, and not only to protect servers, but also not to be mapped by itself. So it should be as transparent as possible. Of course, everything is limited.
Okay, what we also know that Acer, after they discovered that they were under attack, they upgrade the Exchange patches and disconnected from the server. So they were trying to limit the level of...
I would say it's very good post-mortem treatment. Because when malware is already at the computer of the victim, in the internal network of the victim organization, even when I know Microsoft Exchange has already issued the patches that correct and closes these vulnerabilities at this moment at least, but if malware is already there, and if it is sitting silently, it's very, very difficult to map it and to find it. And now, in this case, to disconnect something is mostly similar to post-mortem analysis, unfortunately.
Okay, the next cyber attack is GitHub. So GitHub for the community of developers is very known. They were acquired by Microsoft on 2018, and half of a tera of information was leaked out. Sensitive data were leaked out from GitHub, and we know that there were few hacker groups that attacked it. From the researchers that I read, probably it was a Chinese group of hackers that attacked.
But we do not know exactly.
we don't know for sure. I'm sharing a few links in the presentation, but there is some points that point out that it's a Chinese group of attackers. And these guys, they stole the information. We don't know if they try to do a ransomware attack. They're more like a Robin Hood. You know, Robin Hood, he was stealing from the poor and give it to the
publishing.
stealing from the rich and give it to the poor. So they like very generous, and they share the information, the half of a terabyte sensitive information of developers. They share it in the darknet with their colleagues, the other attackers.
And of course, it opened the next doors for next attacks against the same company like Acer.
Exactly. We see in the same month, on March, we see 2 cyber attacks done through the vulnerabilities of the Microsoft Exchange.
According to ESET research, there are about 5,000 of servers exposed, Microsoft Exchange servers, from 150 countries, if I'm not mistaken. So there are a lot of victims, and there will be more as soon as the malware will decide to act.
I see. So again, what are the remedies that can be done in order to enhance the security?
I'm afraid I won't have to do approximately the same answer. Just first of all, of course, not to forget to update, to put all needed patches and updated, and to keep eyes on the new releases of software, protecting software the company uses.
Mm-hmm.
And the second, try to put as much small and visible devices in the network, as much hiding ports as possible. It will, I cannot say it will prevent, but at least it will reduce the number of successful attacks, successful attempts of attacks.
Mm-hmm. You know, in my opinion, it's reminding me the SolarWinds attack, because the attackers targeted a company that through the platform, through the platform of this company, like GitHub or SolarWinds,
or Microsoft Exchange, by the way.
Exactly, and Microsoft Exchange, they can reach
provide services to all other companies.
Yes, and also they insert a zero-day cyber attack, so it's unknown. It can be silently located in very large organizations, or governments, or defense, and critical utilities, until the 0 day, until the hackers decide that this is the right time for them to make the actual attack.
I just recall a new standard that is going to be accepted, I believe, shortly. Standard is called WBC, white box cryptography. And standard committee started to develop this standard, keeping in mind that the malware is already in the computer. So the protection keys, the password should be protected against the malware that is already inside your computer and your internal network. That is why it is called a white box. I know there is only the very start point of this standard not really accepted. It becomes just becomes to be a standard de facto, but I believe it will help as much as possible against such kind of attacks, since it is already come from preposition that malware is in the internal network.
Okay, let's go to the third and last cybersecurity terrible event that happened to Verkada. I'm saying terrible because I don't have any words to describe how terrible this is, because Verkada, it's a startup, a Silicon Valley startup, providing CCTV services in the cloud.
For protecting.
Of course, CCTV for protection.
Okay, very good protection, yes.
And they were hacked. And this group of attackers called APT 69420 Arson Cats, they managed to access passwords and privileges of the CCTV of very, very interesting companies. For example, would you like to see how the Tesla Verkada services Tesla, and have from the inside. They also manage to leak out video clips, and not only, they also got access to the archive, and they publish it. Why did they do it? From what I succeed to understand, they're just anarchists. They're anarchists. They said all of this information, companies are using CCTVs, take photos of people all the time. So what they did, they publish it. 150,000 surveillance cameras now is available, unfortunately.
I saw it included also the women's spa facility, health facilities.
This is terrible. This is really terrible.
I believe it's more terrible than Tesla, even than Tesla.
I really, it's very, very pity what has happened here. Inside of a jail, you can see jail cells. You can see videos of a policeman that is investigating somebody that he was arrested. There are videos from school hospitals. This is really terrible. What can you tell us about this? How was it happened? What happened there?
Unfortunately, even hackers that do not define this attack as a kind of sophisticated attack. Even they say it's very easy, it's unsophisticated attack. And the main reason for such kind of attack was, just very simple password. Nobody, or almost nobody, has changed the default password for their cameras and other devices. So it's enough just to buy this device and to read the user manual of the default password and to apply it. And from this point of view, you can access any device. The first thing that we would recommend to any, not only our customers, to anybody, to change the password and not to use different password, of course. And of course, another thing is to protect not only camera. I believe camera is a part of IoT that now is growing very fast. And camera, like any other small device, should also be protected. I understand that when IoT started to be developed, nobody kept security in the mind. IoT should be cheap and easy and convenient, and nobody thought about the security. But as we can see from this terrible slides, I believe that even for this case, the small devices and easy devices should be protected in the same way, with transparent, invisible, as much as possible devices. Of course, they have to be very easy. very easy to install and very cheap. Otherwise, it cannot be used for this IoT industry.
Sure.
Easy and cheap.
I also imagine that, I don't know, providing cloud services, and they keep sensitive information which is not belong to them. It's belong to the customer. It's not their property. The awareness must be on the top level. I believe that companies that provide such services to the customer trusts them, and they need to provide the best, to do the best effort, measures also from the cybersecurity point of view.
Well, but they can do nothing if the customers will not change the password for their cameras. Everything started from the customers. They put the cameras without changing password. So the cameras, all cameras were easily accessible. In this case, nobody can help. Absolutely. And even if the passwords are correct, changing the password are good, in this case, you're right. The cloud storage should be protected, but again, as I mentioned, nobody can protect against the legal users that comes from the legal computer, from the legal location, and provide the legal operation. The only thing that may be done, some kind of artificial intelligence and transparent network protection. Why transparent? Why invisibility is so important? In order not to allow to be mapped and to be targeted.
Of course.
It's only thing that I can say.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Larissa Tsirinski. We're almost done, and we'll leave you time to ask questions. I hope you enjoy this webinar. You may go to our website and see the upcoming events, and you are most welcome to register for free. I hope we will be able to provide value to you. And again, I will leave time to questions. If you have any requests, please share it with us. We are doing it that you will enjoy it and find it beneficial. So this webinar is brought to you by ES Embedded Solutions 3000. ES Embedded Solutions 3000 invented the mid-century BNS cybersecurity appliance, which is invisible in the network. You can see a target, you can see, offers secure tunneling, complies with the WBC, the white box cryptography security standard, because password-based encryption is attackable, and enables secure bidirectional SCADA communication to OT and Industrial 4.0 customers. Now, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask.